with DiscoverWoodward.com and Keller Williams Realty Elite, here with Kendra Cox and Raquel Racine, and they're going to talk to us today about Circle of Care, an amazing ministry and system here in Woodward, Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Actually,
Thank you.
everywhere.
Yes.
Excited, yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us, because this is a really cool program, and I know a little bit, but I don't know enough. So,
Yeah. Thanks
so
for
tell
having
us, Circle of Care.
Circle of Care. So we are a faith-based foster care agency. We're actually a statewide agency, but we have an office here in Woodward. And so really what we do is we find people in our community to be foster parents. And that's just important because we have a lot of kiddos who need a home. And so we first start by finding them. They decide they want to do foster care. Then we take them through the whole certification process to become foster parents. And then once they start their journey and actually take kiddos, then we provide support to them. So.
Okay, I want to start, the first time that I ever heard you speak about Circle of Care, you were actually promoting some building of homes here in Woodward. And
Yeah.
So Circle of Care has built homes, and you have moved foster families into these homes.
Yes.
So a foster parent or parents would then be able to take like a larger family of foster kids, so maybe 3 or 4 kiddos from the same family, and keep them all together. Do you want to tell us a little bit about how that housing project works?
Yeah, I'd love to. So that was just really exciting because Woodward
cool.
just like dove into it. So
love
it was
that.
so cool. So the homes are built, they're done. We have families.
And they're
in each of
beautiful.
them. They're so nice. I know. Yeah, they're really nice. We're so proud of them. So, so we have families in both of them, and just like you said, the way it works is. The purpose was to keep siblings together when they came into foster care, because a sibling set of 5 right now in the state of Oklahoma literally has a 0% chance of all getting placed in one home. Like there's just no homes available for them.
So I'm going to interrupt because that is absolutely mind-blowing to me. So I'm one of 4 kids.
Oh, wow.
And I cannot, yes,
Yeah.
and I can't even imagine, so if there's the trauma of being displaced from my family, and needing to have assistance and someone to take me and my siblings, and I can't imagine being and it's really funny because I'm imagining how horrible it would be to be separated from my youngest sibling, not from my oldest. Who's the problem here? Me? Yeah, but I am a typical middle child. So I mean, I think about the trauma. I mean, it just makes trauma on top of trauma to have to separate these kids. So
it's scary.
So that's a big
them.
deal.
Yeah. So our families can take. Really, one of them has 5 kids right now, which is amazing. Wow. So the other one's kiddos actually just went home, which is beautiful. They got to go back with their biological parents. And so they're taking a little break, but then they're going to take 5 or 6 next week whenever they open back up. So, yeah.
So one of the things that I think is really cool, because I've seen a lot of, I've seen some conversation, or I've heard conversation or read conversation, so to speak, from that family that you were just speaking of. And reunification, if at all possible, is the desire of the program, right?
Yeah.
And so, so they are working with the parents, with the bio parents, and with these children, and with Circle of Care, I assume, and with the state agencies, to help to bring healing.
Yeah.
And I think that's super, super cool.
Yeah.
I think a lot of times we only see the negative. There's a lot of heartache and a lot of hurt that comes with being a foster, I'm sure. So very, very cool.
Yeah.
All right, so how many kids, I didn't even want to ask this question, like I don't want to, how many kids right now are in the foster program?
So in foster care, just in Woodward County, kind of our general average is that we have about 100 kids in foster care at any given time in our county. So so that's a lot, especially, for a smaller county. Statewide, we have over 8,000 kids in the foster care system.
Wow.
So it's a lot, yeah.
And then we talked earlier, those are kids that are already placed.
So no, those are just in the system in general.
Okay.
So you had, were wondering what happens to the kids when there's not a home for them to go to. And so what we see happening is, one, we have shelters for kids. And those shelters, we have one here in Woodward, Western Plains, and they do a great job of taking care of the kids and meeting their needs, but it's not a home, and it's not a family.
Right.
And so we, if at all possible, want to keep kids out of shelters. But then what ends up happening too is kind of like we're calling families like, hey, I know you have a ton of kids already. I know you're taking care of them. Can this kid stay with you for a weekend or a week until we can find them a permanent place? And then the kids are kind of bouncing around, waiting for that home that they can stay in.
So what is the process for somebody that is considering being a foster parent? What is the process for them to kind of fill that out, investigate it, and then to complete the work? Because you're not just going to be like, okay, Kendra, here's your
no, we don't do that.
I'd like a 3-year-old. No. Okay, so
that's a good question. Yeah. So one, like, just call us and talk to us. People have so many questions, and there's so many myths surrounding foster care, and there's so much stigma. So we do a lot of just like, I'll meet people for coffee, we'll talk on the phone and just talk through all your worries and anxieties and see if those are things we can work through. But once someone does decide and they have all the information and they want to do foster care, the process generally takes about 60 to 90 days to get completely certified, just because we do tons of background checks, as you can imagine.
Thank you.
Yeah, just as we would want it done if they were taking care of our kids, you know. So tons of background checks. There's actually some training that foster parents go through, just like how to work with kids from trauma, how the foster care system works, all those types of things. And then we do what's called a home study, which is probably like the most invasive part of the process, because I come to your house and I'm like, so Kendra, tell me about your entire life story. And people are like, what? Why do you need to know this? I'm like, it matters, you know, like, because you.
Where can we begin?
Maybe off camera we can talk about your whole life story. But you know, like, how you discipline your kids matters, because that's how you're going to discipline these kids.
Right, absolutely.
Or how you were disciplined.
See, I'm fine. I don't discipline my kids.
Oh, that's perfect. Just what we need. So
It is important.
Yeah,
because
it is.
And there's, I mean, I remember trying to babysit whenever my kids were young. They're old now. It's really not the same. I remember, I mean, you do tend to treat other people's kids the way that you treat yours.
Yeah.
But it's a little bit different even yet, because those little kids, they don't know that you love them.
Right.
And so you really have to develop that relationship with that child.
So you'd be good at this. You know exactly what you're talking about.
Okay.
Foster or a counselor.
Can I just have a day off?
I'm going to sign her up. You might need to find someone to fill her position, Brian.
She'll walk in my house and go, there ain't no room here. Can I have one of those fancy houses? Anyway, I mean, I can see that with discipline and man, I think it's it just all looks like such a challenge, but the other thing that I see is the reward, and I think that I think it was hard for me to believe that there was reward, because it looked so hard. But observing some of these families that have been that look to be successful foster families, and their kiddos get to go back to their bios, and I'm sure it's heart-wrenching because you love those children, but then what a joy to be able to give them back to mom and dad.
It really is just so beautiful to watch. And the parents, you know, if they're able to get their kids back, they've worked so hard.
Right.
And they've put their whole heart and soul into it. And it's just a beautiful thing to get to watch the whole family come to a place of healing. So,
absolutely.
Yeah.
So, all right. So is there anything that I didn't ask that you want to make sure that we know?
No, I don't think so. I think that was great.
Sweet. All right. So tell them,
Yes.
How do they reach you? What do they do?
Yeah, so we have a Facebook page, and our full name's Oklahoma United Methodist Circle of Care. So you can like our Facebook page. It's a mouthful, but you should be able to find it. Also, my cell phone number's 405-312-6640. And so you're always welcome to just reach out to me directly, call, or sometimes people like to text because it's a little bit less of a commitment, so feel free to do that too. And we just moved offices as well, so we're at, I'm going to make sure I say my address right. We just moved yesterday. It's 1915 Oklahoma Avenue, and we're Suite 5. So we just got all moved in yesterday, so feel free.
That used to be Brian's address.
What?
I was Suite 1. He was Suite 5.
Okay. Did you have the fancy office with the coat hanger inside of it? Because that is like so nice. I was like, too bad I don't wear suits. Did you?
Anyway, all right. So 1915
Okay, yes.
Oklahoma Avenue, Suite 5.
Yes.
Say your phone number one more time.
Okay, it's 405-312-6640.
Awesome. Thank you so much
Thank
for
you, guys.
telling DiscoverWoodward.com what you do. We really appreciate you
Yeah.
taking your time. We
It's
know
fun.
you're busy. So, all right, go save some more kids.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Bye.